Musical Talk, the UK's independent musical theatre podcast.
Hello, and welcome to Musical Talk. I'm Dominic McChesney, and
I am David Herzog.
we are together again for the first time.
This is bizarre. We've been over the decades that this program's been running, we've just been passing ships in the night.
We have, yes. I think we've only ever met, and suddenly here we are, and we're doing a show together.
It's the darndest thing. It's Kismet. That's not the name of the show.
No,
that's just how we've happened to end up here together.
I've done Kismet.
Have you actually?
I was the wazir. Yes, a long time ago. And we're sat here in a well-known purveyor of baked goods, having our lunch break from pantomime. We're doing pantomime.
We're doing Aladdin together. How about that? Who'd have thought we'd have ended up in a show together?
I know. It's very bizarre seeing how many people are in this business in this country.
That's really what it is. It's a much smaller business than people give it credit for, and here's proof. A very happy proof. Very happy.
Absolutely. And so far, we still like each other, which is good.
Yeah, we haven't killed each other. Not on stage or off yet.
So we're very fortunate to be doing Aladdin for the Big Tiny, Britain's best little panto, or as it's been called.
Last year I believe it was nominated most in terms of sort of small venue pantomimes in particular, because we're performing this particular production in Market Drayton.
Yes.
In the Shropshire area, Shropshire County, and then we're moving it on to Saddleworth, which is smack dab in between Leeds and Manchester for anybody who's up that way. Although by the time this gets out,
we may be over.
We'll have run the course, but it's so serendipitous that we have two musical talk presenters who are in a show. We might be making history for all I know.
We could actually, yes.
Yeah. So you're welcome. You're welcome, listeners.
And we're going to chat with the other members of the cast.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been rehearsing for not even a week yet, have we? So
yeah, I feel like we're not quite a cozy halfway through, but we thought with a nice coffee catch up in this British establishment, as you so lovingly called it, that rhymes with dregs. We thought it'd be a good moment to sit down and just have a quick chat about how things are going, and things are going very well, I would say.
Yes, indeed. And we've got a lovely cast, really lovely company to work for. Will and Ben, the producers, and Will's also in it. Ben writes it. This is my second year with them. I did.
Who are you playing in the piece?
I'm playing Widow Twankey. And who are you playing?
I am playing Abanazar.
You had to think about that.
I stumble over it because we're sort of umming and ahhing about how American my particular version of Abanazar should be. The trick is, in my accent, I call him Abanazar.
Abanazar.
But it doesn't rhyme with anything like Ava Banana. It makes jokes that go completely out the window. So it does make for a very interesting process, but we're getting along very well so far. We've done the music side of things. We've gotten most of the musical numbers on their feet, which you look spectacular in, I have to say.
Really?
You're doing a heck of a lot more dancing than I am.
I'm doing a heck of a lot more dancing than my brain is doing, I think. Then that's good to hear, because I'm always worried about my pointy elbows.
So are the people next to you.
And yes, so far so good. There's a lot of musical numbers in this. There's only a cast of 6. We don't have a chorus.
We have 7 actually.
Oh, 7. Mm-hmm. Yes. And Ellen, our stage manager, who is a pivotal role in the plot point.
She is literally almost a deus ex machina, you might say, towards the end.
She is.
So yeah, really we have a cast of 8, as it were, or 7.5, depending on how you want to count it. And what are some of the musical numbers? Because a lot of the listeners will know some of the ones that we have in this.
We've got a nice selection of pop. Traditional pop music, or popular pop.
Some very recent
songs, recent stuff, and we've got some good old-fashioned musical comedy numbers. We have "I'm Levitating."
I'm Levitating is a Dua Lipa number, I believe, that was done.
I'm the wrong person to, because as listeners who are familiar with me know that I only know things from musical shows that ran on Broadway for 6 performances and closed. So I'm absolutely the wrong person to comment on any of the music that's popular.
Well, and this is as far as my Wikipedia knowledge will go, so that's all we can say about that particular number. Eurovision Dua Lipa song, I'm Levitating.
Oh, It Takes Two.
Mm-hmm.
It's not It Takes Two, it's the two of us.
Just the two of us.
Just the two of us.
Number.
Okay.
In terms of pop songs, what else do you know about the top
9 to 5, but 9 to 5 is a pop song that became a musical song, so that's kind of...
That's true. Yeah, absolutely. And that was always a crossover song to begin with.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And then a variety number, which is The Old Bazaar in Cairo, which is our big number.
Mm-hmm. It is. And you also have another wonderful musical comedy number that you just choreograph today, which is the sing-along.
Oh, Inky Pinky Parley-Boo. Well, it's Inky Pinky Parlez-Vous is an interesting song because that is...
It's always done as a sing-along.
Yeah, well, it's the kind of song that's sung... It was traditionally sung by the soldiers coming back from war in the First World War.
Yeah.
And I suppose it's quite rude to the French, really, but...
Well, I think the French had their own version to begin with.
Oh, right.
From what I know of it.
So that was... Yeah.
Unless I'm mistaken.
Our version is... It was a song that was always sung at the back of a bus by naughty schoolchildren or scouts on tour or something.
But we had it in America as well, and what's interesting is, again, our Doughboys brought back the same song from World War I. It's got a fabulous dirty tradition. Ours is a different tune, though. I don't know the name of the tune that's used for yours. We do ours to the tune of When Johnny Comes Marching Home Again, Hurrah, Hurrah, which is another World War I anthem for us. It's just interesting in the days before the internet that these songs traveled across countries, different tune, but it's the exact same song, same words, little variations. So people will definitely know it.
What are the words that we put? We had words to that tune.
All the ants come marching one by one, hurrah, or maybe that one, the children's song. The
Oh yes, that's right, yes. And now you used a phrase which I think is very much an American phrase, which is doughboys.
Yeah.
Which which I've heard crop up in musicals. It's mentioned in Dear World, actually, bizarrely. But doughboys was soldiers who'd just come out, finished fighting with it, and they're coming back.
In the States.
For some reason, I thought doughboys were the people who worked in restaurants collecting dirty dishes.
Oh, I see. Potentially, maybe.
I have
don't
no
know.
idea why I thought that.
I think it was specifically army soldiers.
Yeah. I think we have to head back. I think we've got afternoon rehearsals. We have to...
Do we have to head back to rehearsals already? This has been
indeed.
such fun time
I know,
for us.
yes.
We'll have to pick this up again later on. What do you think?
And we'll talk to some of the others.
Sounds good.
Hurrah, bye!
Please, you're going to come on for the same way you went off. But you're not going to come through the portal, you're going to come on from the mid-tabs. Okay, so behind the portal.
It's when we come on.
The market is on the second portal, so you're going to come on just in front
Oh,
of
hang on, sorry, we did that.
sorry, so you're going to come on at mid-tabs.
Okay, right.
Just behind
So
proceeding
we've
2.
exited stage 5. And we're coming in.
You're going to move, you're going to come over here, there'll be, I think, a sheet on the floor, and you're going to pick it up quickly, behind the sheet, and put it over. Okay? So, and you're going to end up in that gap there. Okay?
Yeah.
Quickly, yeah. So you're going to come down here, you're going to pick up the sheet, so I'm here. Yeah.
Oh.
Quickly, under this sheet, bang, put it over.
And
then you're going to stand either side there.
Yeah.
Please make your way down to the front of the stage in a preposterous way next to each other.
Any preference of order? In the dance, I come on first, but I followed her off. Or is it continuing on where we were before?
I have no preference.
I'll come after you then, because I think because I extra after you go.
So we're still doing our race. A chase even.
Deliver all your lines out to the audience, you know, low.
Hello.
We're the pride of the pre-king police force.
Soldier Pepper.
And PC well.
It's the
Look for officers, get right in front of our hider, you know.
Oh, by the way, girl, we're looking for leads. Oh, leads,
So you definitely got the right answer here, okay?
Oh, leads, that's easy.
So come all the way over, up, march.
Straight down the end, turn right at the end. Oh, stupid
Good
boy.
boy. And hit him on the
it's a slap
back.
first,
So
sorry.
back of the head. Bang!
Oh,
straight
right.
arm, okay?
Okay.
Don't actually, it's just a huge sound effect. And then,
with a truncheon.
oh yes, nice.
Much better.
Yeah. A honk.
So if I'm here,
And we offer, because it's a really silly sound effect, isn't it? It just goes tsh,
brilliant.
Yeah.
and it's like a
So it's a big whack, and then it's stupid boy.
Yeah.
no.
No.
It's
Stupid
sorry,
boy.
Stupid boy. Boom.
Stupid boy whack.
Yeah, that needs changing there.
Brilliant.
Oh, hello, my lovelies. It's me, everyone's favourite dowager laundress, Widow Twanky.
Once upon a time.
A long time ago. We're proud owner and operator of Twanky Soaps and Suds, the grottiest laundress in the Peking slums. I know what you're thinking. She's got looks, she's got style, and her own small business. She's got it all. And you envy me, don't you? You do. Wicked people. But you shouldn't, you see. I'm so lonely.
No.
My husband, he's dead.
No.
Murdered. Oh, the love of my life it was. Fashion House Francis, Frankie to family and friends. Until 15 years
So
ago.
show the board here.
Oh yes, I've got the board.
Husband is
Yeah.
dad. Show the whiteboard.
I love the life he was. Fashion House Francis he was. Fashion House Francis. Frankie to family and friends. Until 15 years ago, when the twins were still tiny, he was murdered. Stabbed to death. With a dirty ignition key from a Ford Transit by a gangly, hot-headed American with whom he'd met for adult experimentation. The headline read simply, Swanky Frankie Twanky, shanked by a lanky and frankly cranky Yankee, with manky vanky during under the blanky hanky panky. Time to move on. I'm single and ready to pringle. Lights up. Oh, I see there's a few lookers in here tonight.
So you're going to come down the steps here. You're going to go out into the audience.
Now I'm particularly
Do look at their labels on the back of their clothes.
I'm particularly interested in someone whose clothes are dressed in fabric that are easy to iron. Yes, stain resistant, easy iron. Oh, you sir, you look like you're suitably easy clean. No, don't idea.
And then also, just pretend that he's whispering to you. So just no, don't worry, Dave. I wanted somebody who's fashionable.
Oh, yeah, yes. What's that, dear? Yes. No, don't worry, dear. If I wanted someone who was... I don't care about fashion. If I wanted someone who looked presentable, I would have picked them. Low maintenance. That's the man for me.
Get stand up.
Yes. What's your name? Stand up, my lovely.
Donald.
Donald! Oh, Donald! Oh, that's a nice name. Donald. And what do you do for a living, Donald?
I'm a plumber.
A plumber! Oh, that goes so well with my laundry. You can do all my machines and my blockaging.
Yeah.
And where do you live, Donald, the plumber?
Birmingham.
Birmingham! Oh, Donald the plumber from Birmingham. It's a bit of a commute from Peking. But we'll make it work.
I tell you what, you
somehow.
can make him sit back down there,
You can sit
and
down.
then you can go back, and you could be asking him on the way,
Yeah.
do you believe in destiny?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it. I'm repeating these a lot, so yeah.
Yeah. Do you believe in destiny? Oh, you do you? Oh, well, that's fantastic, because then your audience and this. When it's got his name.
So Donald the plumber from Birmingham. Oh, do you believe in destiny, Donald? Good. I'm so glad, because look at this! Oh! Isn't that marvellous? That's magic, that is. Don't try and work it out, Donald, you go mad. Yes, no man alive could understand the whiteboard of destiny. Oh.
Hello, my name's Ellie Gearin and I play Princess Jasmine.
Hi, my name's Michael Perlman. I play Aladdin.
Hello, my name is Tessa Vale. I play the Empress and Sergeant Pepper.
Hello and welcome to Musical Talk, this
Thank you.
podcast. And exciting that we're all doing panto together.
Isn't it? It's fantastic.
Very fun.
We're very lucky.
Ellie, is this your first panto?
Yes, in terms of how this production is running, I was in professional panto as a child, but as an
Very
adult, it's like my first kind of significant role.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah. So yeah, it's been great so far.
And Michael, is it yours?
Of this kind.
Of this
yes. I did an adult panto last year.
Did you? Kept that
Yes, more phalluses in that one.
And
Be careful of language.
Yeah, we're gonna keep it as blue as that for the episode,
there
just
we
in
are.
case.
Yes.
And the Lady Tessa, you panto is no stranger to you,
It
nor are
isn't.
Christmas festive shows in general, because
No.
we've discovered that we have unofficially met 10 years ago, the same time
Which
when
is
you
very
did
strange.
Scrooge with Mr. Tommy Steele at the world famous London Palladium.
Yes, indeed.
So
which
the
was
festive
amazing.
season is a wonderful time for you to be working.
It is. It's lovely. Very happy memories from there. It was
And panto
amazing.
as well, correct?
And panto, yes. Funny enough, sort of Chipping Norton 4 years ago, and also the Victoria Theatre in Halifax a long time ago. I played. I got a twin sister, Deborah, and we played sisters in Beauty and the Beast.
Oh, wonderful.
Quite unconventional, because I was only sort of quite young then, so it was particularly strange. But it was a very interesting experience, actually. Yeah. To realize how hard it is to play that sort of part.
And is this your first time doing pantomime, Mr. McChesney?
It's not my first time doing panto.
What the heck you say?
It is it's only my second time doing Dame.
Sure.
Which is great fun.
And when was the last time you did Dame?
It was last year. I did Dick Whittington for the same company. We say the Big Tiny.
Big Tiny.
Which is, you can see on social media on @TheBigTinyUK.
Yeah,
And they are a company based in Bolton.
Yes.
I think they are. I think it is a Bolton address.
Bolton address, yes.
Address. And they run pantomimes in Market Drayton, which is where we are at the moment. And then we moved to Delft. And they're also doing the show in
Bury at the moment.
Bury, that's right. They're doing Dick Whittington and Bury, and Aladdin in Delft. So yes, and they were the most nominated company for the UK Pantomime Awards last year.
Which is fantastic.
And were they most nominated for small venue, or just most? Are they the second most nominated overall, or something?
I believe overall.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think you're right.
Very impressive.
They had a few other nominations as well, didn't they?
Yes, Best Director,
Best Script, I think.
Best Direction, Best Script,
Best
Newcomer, which they won.
Yeah. Very up and coming company.
They are.
One to look out for. We're partial, don't get me wrong. But they are
We're a little biased.
Genuinely very good.
Genuinely
biased again.
True story.
Our producers. And so far, have you had fun?
Huge fun, absolutely. It's the usual mad rush rehearsing. You never think you're going to learn this in time with the harmonies and the choreo, but we do. We always get there.
By golly, we have.
By the skin of our teeth, and it's
How long ago do we meet each other now? Because it was barely a 2-week rehearsal process.
Was.
And I'd say 2 weeks is a fair amount.
Yeah.
In either country in the industry.
Thursday 17th we met, and it's the 5th, no 6th now.
It's extraordinary, really.
Yeah.
God.
Am I right?
Managed to put together.
So we didn't even do quite 2 weeks of a rehearsal process, and then barreled straight into school shows and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And we're quite lucky because this one has, as everyone who listens to this who does panto, there's usually a lot of school shows. I think we're very lucky in our run that we only have 2 days of 3 shows, and that's it for our entire run.
Yes.
We do days of school shows where we got 2 shows, but we only had 2 days of 3 shows.
Which was a blessing, really, isn't it?
It really is. That's lucky,
By the third show, it's all...
Yeah, I'd mentally checked out. It's quite difficult to actually...
I genuinely looked at Michael at least once and said, or maybe it was Ellie, and I said, are we on the first show or the second show right now? And is it still And is it still Thursday?
Yeah, that's very odd.
I was okay till the 5th, between the 5th show and the 6th show. I suddenly went,
I think because of consecutive days, that was particularly difficult.
Yeah, they were back to back.
I know some of the other people, in some of the big shows, they have a huge grilling schedule. And we're right in the middle of panto season now, so all the other shows are running. And
all up and running now. But I think we've only got 1 show a day in between Christmas and New Year, which is going to feel like a luxury, isn't it?
Yes.
It's going to be wonderful.
I saw that schedule, I was like, ooh, lovely.
It's been a blessing schedule-wise. We've been blessed with good audiences so far. In the Shropshire area, they've been very, very good for Market Drayton. And we've been told to look forward to raucous audiences from the greater Manchester and greater Leeds areas to come and hang out at
and I believe we're nearly sold out, they've said.
It's
lovely.
So congratulations if you're listening to this now. You're too late.
No, do try and get a ticket.
Just in case.
Just in
to see us. So we've had a couple of nice reviews.
Have we?
Aren't we wonderful? It's like a love-in. Oh my goodness.
True story.
Yes.
Right.
I did hear we had a nice one.
We just won the Shropshire Star.
Yeah.
And we're expecting one more at least.
Will mentioned that it was nice.
Yes.
And that was because we had a show to do in
that's right.
5 minutes.
So our other cast members who are missing are Will Cousins, who plays Wishy Washy.
Yes.
He's also Mr. Producer as well.
Sarah Louise Young, who's our wonderful Jeannie.
Who's also does Julie Madley, Deeply, and...
She's a former showstopper. For those of you, we've had the showstoppers on the podcast many times.
One of the founder members.
Her other cabaret is An Evening with Kate Bush.
Yes, An Evening without Kate Bush.
Without Kate Bush.
Unfortunately, Kate Bush can't make it.
That's nice.
Yeah.
We're going to see her, aren't we?
We are. We're going to go to the Crazy Cox, the ZL, Piccadilly in January.
Which is a great
really
venue.
looking forward to that.
Yes.
So it's good to plug that as well. Sarah
Yes,
Louise
that would
Young
be
is
fantastic.
a heck of a performer.
And she's also got another cabaret going out. I can't remember the name of it, but She did
she does a double hander.
She premiered it at Edinburgh.
Yeah.
Which is meant to be wonderful, so I'm sure it is.
She's a wonderful performer.
She is fantastic.
And a very good, strong, solid cast in general. We've been getting along. I mean, as we speak, we're having sort of drinks after the show, as it were. We're all sort of sat around our gorgeous actors' housing. We have a fabulous cast dynamic, like we've said, but also because the Big Tiny at the moment are doing specifically small venues, although they're obviously they have dreams of grandeur and expanding into other theaters, and hopefully in the coming years that'll be the case for them. They deserve it. But what they're sort of providing show-wise is nothing short of miraculous from a technical standpoint. They've got a magic carpet that are going into these spaces that are... 200 seaters, 300 seaters? They're all less than 500 because they're qualifying for Panto Awards for spaces that are less than 500. So I know these are tiny spaces, and they're getting flying carpets, and they're getting camels, and they're getting pyrotechnics, gorgeous sets,
beautiful sets,
crocodiles.
And a crocodile
coming out of the washing machine.
There's a peaking duck, isn't there? Without giving anything away.
It is a zoo.
It's an absolute zoo.
It is.
There's a lot going on.
You should see the animals they put on stage.
You're very funny. You're very, very funny.
And some of my costumes are as big as the stage. So
your walked-out costume is extraordinary. We won't say what it is.
How many changes do you have?
I have 10 changes.
Oh,
10 changes?
I didn't realise. But 4 or 5 of those costumes are actually bigger than me.
Right.
Yeah, and it's got bigger hair. Like literally,
brilliant wigs.
Adds an extra couple of feet.
Yes.
Every time.
Your pink one.
It is quite
They look epic.
You're probably like 7 foot in at least one of them.
Yeah.
That pink one.
I'm mainly thinking of
the dance in that.
The wig with the
actually.
handle on it.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It's very painful.
I'll get Dom to do some transition TikToks so you can all see his gorgeous.
Great idea.
Yes. Ellie is dragging me into TikTok.
The world
social
of
media.
TikTok.
Because we did a TikTok, didn't we?
All of us, yeah.
900.
Yeah,
So
we've got lots
in
of
like
views in it.
one day or something.
Yeah, literally within an hour. Yeah, and it was just like a feature of our finale costumes because they're so pretty. And
They're beautiful.
Yes.
But
Don't mention too many social media sites on a podcast because the universe will implode on itself or something. I have a feeling that we enter into a mirror dimension if we mention too many things.
Yes.
You gotta keep it narrow.
And what do we think? What do we think of the script? Because Ben, our producer director Ben Richards, has created an original script, and he's getting his doctorate in pantomime culture, tradition. I don't know what his actual degree is.
It's also in diversity. Representation in pantomime.
That's right.
It's what he's specialising in as well, I believe. But
it's a different. I would say it's not a traditional script.
No,
but
it's very intense.
And the rehearsal process was slightly different to a sort of your average panto. We did lots of character work, interesting, lots of games, into which I hadn't come across before. Particularly in that short time, but I think it did work. It made it was kind of a shortcut to us working well together. I think.
And embodying our characters.
and really understanding our characters.
Yes,
They're not just stock characters.
You don't usually do something
very
like
unusual
in pantomime, but it works out.
It was lovely.
Very well.
It was great fun, but also very helpful. I think.
I think Ben wants there to be truth in the script as well as the gags,
Absolutely.
as well as to make it all
we want the children to go away
piece.
with the message.
Yes, the silliness is kind of assumed.
Sure.
And the gags are kind of easy and free flowing.
Yeah.
But to give it a little bit of heart, I think is probably the best point to it.
Yeah.
And Aladdin's message at the end. And
I found it very interesting, the playing with the preservation of the truth of the characters interacting with each other and the fundamental story, while also implementing that pantomime physicality and also the standards within pantomime that I did not necessarily previously. They didn't necessarily entirely interact with each other as much as this process.
Absolutely.
Got me to start thinking about, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, like just going off the back.
And also we did a whole, session on Commedia, didn't we, as well? And they added the stock figures, the stock moves, and which was
were you going to say something similar, Ellie?
I was just saying about there's an element of some genres of theatre or there needs to be authenticity, and I think it's quite easy to look at panto and be like, oh, that's just funny, that's just quite OTT, and actually Ben did all of those things, but there's still so much authentic emotion that runs. The journey that your character runs through is it like any other production, but it's got that extra layer of panto and comedy, and it makes it so far more in depth for an audience and for the actor. It's something that I haven't experienced before, and I'm really grateful to be a part of that journey.
Yeah, I think it does, and it's not in a it kind of almost sounds like we're going, oh yeah, we've created this wonderful, great, heavy, in-depth dark. And it's not. It's a beautiful pantomime.
It is,
with all the usual jokes and gags and sound effects and ridiculous situations.
Or making it sound like
it is. Yeah,
it's not Ibsen, is it? We're not doing Ibsen.
It's not Shakespeare.
No.
But go back to what you were saying, Tessa. Like for somebody like me who's American, who's constantly learning the pantomime traditions, the way of doing things. I love the fact that in this particular production that, yes, Ben did some table work with us. Yeah. We discussed it, but that he went to the Commedia because at least you learn about Commedia dell'arte in both countries. And for listeners who don't know what Commedia dell'arte is, pantomime, and a lot of theater has a lot of its roots in Commedia. Those were like the earliest of the early Italian comedies that people used to pack up in their caravans and tents and things. They always had the same characters with the same gags, and we use a lot of those gags today. We certainly use a lot of those same characters, though, in pantomime.
Exactly.
The sort of sort of shrewd father, perhaps, or like the overbearing mother who became. What's she called, the dame in Commedia? Because obviously that's the dame now.
But there was.
I think it was. I believe.
What was the character's name in Commedia?
Was it Clown who became the dame?
Oh, okay.
No, because Clown became. Yeah, I think Clown became Dame.
Oh, right.
Well, the
Harlequin became the comic.
And Wishy-Washy.
Yes,
Aladdin.
but I may be wrong. Will be able to.
No, you're right. Harlequin would have become.
Because
the comic
they used to
for
have
sure.
like the fairy tale, and then suddenly they would have the transformation scene where everything would become the Harlequinade.
Yeah. You had the Inamorata, the lovers, who obviously become like the head
hero,
the lead boy and girl.
Yeah.
So you've got those elements, and so Ben Richards, again, because there's a lot of physicality in Commedia, all the characters are, like we said, the same, but they also move the same. The character who would become the dame always moved the same, with her arms outstretched, with her chest puffed out, and things like that.
Sorry, just like going off what you said, but I think the princess that Ben wrote is far different to a lot of
God.
Oh,
so I would say I'm really enjoying like playing this really feisty, kind of bossy.
Yeah.
She's got like far more going for her.
Rather
than like
she's not wet.
She's not a prickly Disney princess, is she?
She's got guts, and actually, she's absolutely.
Well, she wears the trousers.
She's going to rule Aladdin with a rod of iron. Probably literally, actually.
But still plays on those like original
like
it builds
ideas.
Off
of them.
But it's kind of not as straightforward for I think my character specifically, which I quite like though. I think it gives,
he does. I think he does write. He write the thing with Ben and doing Dick Whittington last year, which I think you'll get to see as well, is that he writes great characters for everybody. He writes. Everyone's got a wonderful, funny moment and a great scene. And great interactive relationships with each other. I mean, I think it's quite funny. I mean,
they have some meat on the bones. They're three-dimensional. It's
good way of putting it.
The villain that the speeches that he's given me as villain are extremely. I mean, they're huge. But he said at the end, he's like, "You are not going for gags in this end speech." He's like, "I really, really want, especially the kids, to think that you are ending this show right now because you've won. I want the kids to think you've won. I don't want there to be any doubt in your minds. I want them to literally sit back and some of the adults to go.
Oh gosh, it's going to
go. Oh my gosh, has he won? I want to literally their brains to do that. And that's deep, for Pinto."
My friend who saw it the other day, she actually said she sat there going, oh, how are they going to get out of this? And I think it's very clever. There's a very clever twist in it.
And you'll have to see
it.
And if not, make sure you go and watch the next productions because the big tinier ones to watch out.
Definitely.
A lot of good twists and turns in the plot. Very clever and
I have to
well
say
thought out.
as well. I mean, I know you've been here for quite a while, but you are absolutely a natural at pantomime.
Thank you.
Your Abinaza is completely perfect pantomime
Yeah,
villain.
Well, he's American, and Americans do evil very, very well. And it's high time the tables were turned. How many flippin' Disney films did I grow up with where all the heroes were very American, and by golly, we're going to win the day, and all the villains were all English. It's high time the tables were turned.
True.
Let us have a job in the villainy business.
Yes. Yeah, that's true.
It's lovely having an American villain. It's great.
Yes, it works very well. Even though I don't think it's ever really mentioned, is it? But
no, we never went to gag about why is his accent American.
Yeah.
But it works so well.
Totally. You didn't question it for a second, do you?
It's amazing how naturally evil the accent is.
Yeah.
And interestingly enough, because obviously in this day and age, there has been talk, certainly with some of the pantomime companies have decided never to do Aladdin again.
Sure.
But because there is the thing is it right doing something that is set? Now the original story was set, even though it's an Arabic story, it's actually set in China.
Yeah.
So it's an Arabic story that was set in China, which was then found by, I can't remember his name.
Yes, it's in the programme, isn't it?
The French chap.
Yes.
So the French chap. So you've got this kind of culture, but then I do feel that, well, certainly with Ben's version of Aladdin, it is extremely, even though it's set in China, it is it's like the Mikado. It's extremely English. I mean, the Mikado is very English.
I think that's fair. Yeah.
It's
but again, because of the degree background that he's going through with his doctorate, he's doing this, with love and with putting some real thought into it, though.
Yeah.
And not going for any sort of cheap gags that you would associate with.
And none of us are trying to play anyone who's Chinese or Asian.
Oh,
we're not Mickey Rooney
like
and Breakfast at Tiffany's.
No. We passed those days. Thank you.
I think so. Yeah. So nobody's going to come to the show and feel uncomfortable by any stretch. I think they'll come and they'll appreciate. I think people would marvel at again the beauty of the set and lighting design that we've had from Joe Underwood, who did our lights, and our set design is by our Mr. Producers, both Ben and Will.
And the costume design.
And they did the costumes.
And they made the costumes. They're quite extraordinary. How they have enough hours in the day to do it's extraordinary, really, isn't
it? So marvel at all the, like you said, the different lessons, like, Aladdin's final speech and all that kind of thing. It really wraps up and it has some real heart to it. I think audiences get an awful lot out of it.
Yeah. No, I feel like there's definitely a lot in it. There's been put in there through a lot of love from mainly Will and Ben.
Yeah, this company is their baby. It really is.
And it is a monumental effort from them that they have absolutely crushed.
And how does that end scene feel for you in particular? Because it is a sort of a poignant sort of wrapping up the story nicely. How does it feel as Aladdin in that moment too? Yeah.
Without any spoilers, yes. I feel like
Do you feel like a sense of sort of responsibility, especially for like school shows, because you're sort of giving the main message at that point, in my opinion?
Yeah, no, it is very much the ideology behind the piece being spouted at that point of like where and what people should be focusing on in their own lives, potentially.
It's not the traditional ending to Aladdin, even in the sense of the moral and the message that you get at the end. I suppose the traditional Disney one would be, believe in your dreams and you will go far, or something like that. I mean, it's sort of a generic way of putting it, but again, like everything else in the script, there's some meat on the bones of this, and there's a little bit more to it.
I don't know if this is giving too much away. If it is giving too much away, we can cut it, of course. But I feel like everything good that happens to Aladdin comes to Aladdin through chance and through his own positive actions, his own initiative.
Yes, nothing comes to him. There's only one thing that comes from a wish.
Exactly. Everything else comes from him.
His graft,
putting himself in those positions.
Yeah. I think making a good choice, being a good person is what's important. I know that's a sort of stock message, but
fair point.
But he's a good person, isn't he? He's a nice person and a good person and kind.
He's a very pure person. He doesn't really
pure intentions, I think.
Yeah. No, he doesn't really waver from his immediate instinctual thoughts, which are all very innocent. There's a lot of innocence within him. Less so than wishy-washy, which I feel like is a is a younger childhood innocence, whereas this is
a
young adult innocence, maybe without any cynicism.
I think Aladdin's a good story for children because he has his positive actions have a domino effect on the other characters. Even though you feel like the kids are obviously in tune with this whole idea of magic and dreams, but actually, like you said, his good actions actually then create other characters that may not be.
Well, it's interesting, our relationship with the Empress and the Doctor, in the end, we're reconciled, aren't we?
Yeah.
Because initially I'm like, how you can't marry a
he's had an impact on me, and then I've had an impact.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So
yes.
in that
positive.
sense, the kids to watch that, it does show that domino effect, that actually how something small, even if it is something nice,
it's worth doing the right thing if you can.
It ripples through.
Well, the funny thing is that last scene for me, as Widow Tranky, I'm completely and utterly unsatisfied with that. I gave nothing, absolutely nothing. And I stand there in the last scene and I think, that's right, everybody else except me. Well, and you.
Except Wishy-Washy's happy, he's going off.
You get to wash your hands
I
of
get
your troublesome kids.
The only benefit is I actually get rid of my kids.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
And this is, which is probably the most hideous version of Widow Twanky that's ever been written.
Yeah, I always saw Widow Twanky as the more emotionally manipulative one.
Oh God, yes.
You drove Francis to cheat.
I think absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. So I won't tell you my whole Fashion House Francis backstory until we finish.
Yeah,
and then I'll tell you.
It's wonderful.
Tell you the
You'll
truth.
tell us the whole story.
I'll tell you the truth.
The part, yes.
So, and the nice thing in this one as well, which I like, is although there's a couple of moments which are supposed little corpses, but which I've never been one for liking
set corpses. Yeah.
But what I like about Will and Ben is that they script these moments where the Dame and the comic are allowed to make people laugh on stage, and if people laugh, then we actually go with it, and if they don't, we just continue with the scene.
Yes.
And I like that challenge.
Yes.
And so far, it's proving great fun.
Right.
I'm enjoying coming up with different things.
It has been so joyful. I can't explain it. I've enjoyed my time so much on this show, but I know when it comes to Act 2 and that scene's about to start, I'm trying my hardest not to laugh, and these two are behind us, and normally Michael's looking at me, and I'm just literally I can't believe what is currently going on stage, and it's so funny, and it's that lovely thing as once someone in the audience starts laughing, because it's allowed, everyone laughs together, including you, including us.
And the thing is
so
that
lovely.
the audience can see that your laugh is genuine. It's not a fake corpse, and that's what's beautiful. And sometimes we'll make each other laugh. So I'll just you
will too.
And yesterday, I think I made myself laugh. But
we've had cats meowing.
That was my favourite one.
We've had biscuits on stage.
Feathers tickling under the nose.
Yeah, we've had brooms where no brooms should go.
Yes. No, that was an invasive broom.
The funny thing is that sometimes I've not known what I'm going to do until I'm actually standing there behind you, and then suddenly something goes into my head, and I go, "Oh, I'm going to do this," and it's quite nice. But I mean, the pressure to actually think of things. Yes, we've got a list. We have got a list.
Something more shows to go. You've got to have...
I feel as though that playful energy is pervasive throughout the entire piece, though, which is really lovely that we have that trust in each other, that we can all mess around with each other, we can give each other looks.
And the audience can share in that.
Yes, Tessa, you in particular, during our trial of worth. I looking into your eyes is almost impossible.
I've got twinkling eyes.
It's the eyes, you look at me with crazed eyes. I can only look at you for so long before okay, we need to continue to
carry on this.
I can't be looking at you.
And do you know what I love as well? The children, because I feel because that has been set up from the very beginning, kids especially feel so open to shout and scream, which I know is obvious for panto.
Yeah.
But I feel obviously seeing lots growing up myself, and I think now being in this one and listening to the wall of sound I suppose from all these children, I feel it really sets that up from the beginning for that to happen.
Yes.
children right the way through to adults. Because
Yeah.
I feel like it's quite obvious by the reactions we're getting on stage is that actually they really do enjoy showing.
Oh gosh, yeah, you immediately know.
And also the fact is that they're not just. So many times when you got a panto with kids, they're just booing the villain just because he's a villain. Whereas the Empress,
I get booed.
You get booed in the final word.
I do, which
Absolutely.
is I am a sort of villain, but I'm kind of not. It's probably a bit confusing for
But
them.
they feel. No, I don't think it is confusing. I think they feel safe to see that you're acting.
Badly.
They see you're acting badly, and you're being manipulative.
They
and so
usually
they boo you.
join in that.
Whereas, and also remember that in David's end speech, which is not short, it's very long. They are silent.
Yes, I mean,
and
they behave
usually
really
I've seen shows where the villain can't even get 2 words out.
God.
Whereas they are hanging on his every word, and he's talking directly to them.
They're very invested in the story, aren't they?
Their mouths are agape during that scene.
I think they are. And then when they get it, it's lovely to see the changes in their faces when they suddenly realise how it's going to be resolved.
Well, because all of us, we get to just look at them.
Yeah.
We just get to watch the transition from what is happening, oh no, to
Well, because ultimately kids love that when they know that they're pulling something over on a grown-up.
Yes.
Right.
Like if a comic comes on stage and says, "Has anybody seen the cave?" Or that's what we do for our bit. Has anybody seen the cave? Like, it's right behind you. You fools! What is the matter with you? Turn around and look. I think kids love that kind of thing, and it comes to a nice sort of climactic moment during my speech, and I could see it. Of course, I'm pretending not to know what's going on behind me, but I could see the kids all pointing at each other and going, "Shh, don't say anything. Shush, let him do his speech. Let him finish," because they know that they're about to pull one over on me. And kids love that. They love that so much.
That power suddenly, that idea they've got power.
It's like, I know something a grown-up doesn't know, and now we're about to,
What a lovely thing, like, to be a part of. Like, we were talking about it in the car the other day, John, weren't we? About how panto is so joyful. It is something that, like, at any age, the idea is that you can come and just enjoy something for what it is, and actually go away smiling. Whether you found one thing funny or the whole thing funny, or you didn't find it funny at all, it still made you feel a good sense of...
It's probably quite nostalgic. Quite a few older people I've noticed this week looked absolutely sort of blissed out. They're really happy to be there. Because also you're remembering from your childhood probably as well, aren't you?
Because we're all like that as humans. I mean, because even like, we go through like that Disney phase of you adore them as kids. You go through that awkward teen phase, and then you appreciate them for nostalgia's sake when you're an adult.
Yes.
But I think even kids in that awkward middle age secretly love pantomime in this country. I've seen it in the shows that I've done. When, like when Widow Twinkie smacks her 2 kids and there's that good sound effect, I hear quite a few 13-year-olds go, "Ooh!" And I'm like, you're buying into it. You just enjoyed that. Thank you very much.
Seeing those kids who, when they, you come out and they're kind of like sat there with their arms crossed, like they kind of, and then slowly you just see them melt, and by the end of the show, they're cheering along as well.
Yep, they like it too.
But that's the thing is, I mean, it's escapism, and also people really, especially this year, I think things are tough, and they're tough this winter. So it's nice to actually be in a show that is selling out, and that people are going, God, things are tough. Then how are we going to pay bills? But we're going to take our families
still go to panto.
Sure. So it happened during the Depression. Not to be grim, but like people spent most of their money on food, utilities, and going to the cinema. Going to the theater. They needed that escape.
Snow White. Was that?
Oh yeah, that was a Depression era film. And Mickey Mouse cartoons. That's what people were obsessed with back in the day. That's what they spent their money on. It's live theater at the end of the day. It's something special. It's something you can't get from your phone screen. It's something you can't get from your TV.
Just watching on Netflix, or it's not the same.
Well, I mean, fundamentally, like, panto is an evolution from like community theatre. Like, evolution from like the community making a show together and putting it on. It's like, oh, that's funny. That's my friend's dad. He's the Dame this year. Oh, isn't that really funny? But it's like that evolution, which still has that community spirit, and I felt like we were really welcomed into Market Drayton,
especially Market Drayton.
Very much
during
so.
this like limited time that we've been here.
We don't even do a week's run here, do we? So
just under a week.
Just under a week at Market Drayton.
And from your experience of last year, Delph is the same, if not even more. You feel really
we do 3 weeks there, don't we? So,
yes, if not longer time, it's lovely.
And
Yes, it's lovely, and it's a small town, but you absolutely are embraced by the community, and you become little kind of stars in that area for a while. Yeah, we haven't really talked about the songs and the choreography by our wonderful choreographer Jason Harrison. Who got 53-year-old me doing
and much older me dancing as well.
Dancing as well.
I'm the senior member of the company.
I think you have a little bit more basis in dance than I do. So.
No, not really. That's very kind of you. Very kind to say that.
Fabulous job, though.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're doing an absolute.
Oh,
well, it helps having a choreographer who.
Well, I think he
knows how to choreograph.
Yeah.
Yes.
For the space and for us.
And for the time, when you knew we didn't have loads of time to keep running, have a dance school.
Yeah.
So I was very grateful that it wasn't going to be a killer.
And there's some moves now that I'm going, I've got this now.
Yeah.
Whereas it took ages to get.
No.
I mean, there's a couple I'm still moving in the wrong direction. But that one especially. I go, oh no, everyone's going that way.
They're going that way.
I mean, there are moments.
But I'm in such an awkward costume, I can kind of get away with it.
And also in pants, you can get away with this, I think, can't you?
Yeah, we got very excited in the finale, and we were like giving it everything, and then we both just realised we weren't doing the choreography.
Seriously?
Sorry, Jason.
You're the dance captain, Ellie.
But I promise that was the only time I've ever done that on stage.
I'm sure it looked wonderful.
And she's the dance captain.
No, we were just loving life.
You were just like clapping and
I'm not gonna lie, I think I was doing some dance moves from other songs, but I don't know. I don't know.
No, I just got totally sidetracked, and then we just had a moment. We just looked at each other and we were like, okay, we'll go back.
And we'll go back, and we're back.
Oh, that's fun.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
But it was in the finale, and the finale only. So.
The finale's a party, though, so it makes sense.
It is. Anything goes. And
and also it's art.
Within reason. I don't mean that, Jason. Sorry for listening to this. I do your choreography, but
technically, it's our wedding. So we can do whatever.
You could just change the choreography contractually.
Yeah. I've been to weddings, and the bride and groom can get away with anything.
Just like it says in the contract. Well,
his choreography has been really fun to learn.
Yeah, it's lovely.
And like you said, very understanding to our different levels of dance.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. And we've got nice selection of choreography and dance as well. So we've actually got you've got the traditional pantomime pop songs as well as musical theatre songs. We've got Comedy Tonight.
Comedy Tonight, which is lovely.
Which is wonderful to do.
Great to do.
Got a music hall number, which made me very happy.
Oh, yeah.
Music hall number of the Old Bazaar in Cairo.
Oh, yes.
Of course.
I assume it's music hall. That is music hall.
It's more variety.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Yes.
But it also has like a fun...
Inky Pinky Pally, which is a very old, rude song. That's our song sheet.
Had that in America too.
And children love it.
Yeah, they do like being told the rude song.
Yes.
Much to the chagrin of the teachers.
And then you've got a couple of lovely ballads. We've got some big, some big numbers.
Just the two of us.
Just the two of us is lovely.
Beautiful
song.
Yeah.
As a trio.
And our house.
As a trio.
A tricky version of our house as well. Two versions of our house.
Two versions of our house. The Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young version.
Beautiful, that version.
Yeah,
these
that's
are all
a lovely song to learn, actually.
Yeah,
One
beautiful.
that I hadn't
I feel like...
I'd heard, but I'd never thought to learn,
All taught lovingly by Mr. Joe Martin, our wonderful MD. Our very patient MD.
Very patient.
In some ways more patient than Jason. There's some tricky harmonies in this show, folks.
Yeah.
It was worth it.
Forgivable
a wonderful,
harmonies.
nurturing energy from our lovely Joe.
Yeah.
And he actually came to watch us, and him and his partner and their children.
Yes.
Came to watch.
That was
They
very
came to watch our dress rehearsal. They were the only ones in the audience.
It was great
weren't
actually to have them there, wasn't it?
Yes.
It was great.
And the kids took part as well.
Yeah.
That's nice as well this year, is being able to get the people up on stage again. Because obviously last year we couldn't even go through the audience last year.
Gosh.
Of course. Yeah.
So this year...
We do that quite a bit, don't we?
Yeah, I've got a few audience entrances and exits.
Yeah. We have quite a few in the show. I don't think we've pulled any punches in that sense. I don't think we've had any sort of worries in that sense, thankfully, knock on wood.
Yeah.
thank you very much. We'll probably do a outro.
Thanks for
Thank you.
Yeah,
It's
no,
been
thank
fun.
you so much.
Thanks for coming and having
It's a
drinks.
lovely little chat.
And yes, and
Best of luck for the rest of the run.
yes,
Yeah.
and the future,
Thank you,
and hopefully all our paths will cross again, and we'll do another show.
Oh, let's hope so.
Yeah.
That would be nice, wouldn't
It
it?
would be nice.
I'm Sarah Louise Young, not to be confused with the adult entertainer of the same name, and I am playing the genie and PC World, who is a very efficient member of the constabulary police.
Well, hello, Sarah Louise Young. We're going to have a little chat.
What you're hearing in the background is the sound of early Christmas dinner being cooked by Widow Twanky.
That's right, and she's throwing pots and pans up against the wall by the sounds of it as well.
She's actually told us we're not allowed to go into the kitchen, so even if she cries for help, we can't help her.
But we're going to have a little chat over drinks. How does that sound?
It sounds delightful.
I think you're the only cast member other than Will Cousins we've not heard from yet. So how did you get involved with this lovely piece that we call Aladdin?
Well, I have been really lucky to work with Michael and Tim, who run the Millgate Arts Centre. And I met them when they were looking after a pub called The Swan in Dobcross. And it had a tiny pub theatre above it. And they were so passionate and committed about supporting artists. They created this pub theatre, and Barb Younger played there, and you've got these amazing performers coming in. And we brought our Julie Andrews show, and we just fell in love with them as a couple and their commitment. I mean, they were so brilliant at finding the right work for their community. And they gave us a week-long residency in their pub so that my writing partner Michael and I could basically write a musical. They're just lovely. So they posted on their Facebook that they were doing Aladdin, and I thought, hold on, I could do panto with Michael and Tim, and we've just bought a house in Manchester. So it was about being in Manchester, but also being at Saddleworth. And I didn't really know much about the Big Tiny, and then I went for the audition and I discovered a friend of mine, Laura Corcoran, had done a job for them last year. She said they were amazing. So it feels like lots of things are fused together.
It's the perfect storm, the perfect culmination of things by the sounds of it.
Yeah.
So you went through the normal audition channels then after that, and then they offered you... Which roles did you say?
Well, I didn't audition for the part. I auditioned for the Empress, which lovely Tessa is doing.
I did not know that.
I auditioned for the Empress and Sergeant Pepper, and then in the audition they were like, "Oh, well, could you do a Liam Gallagher impersonation?" And I could not. In fact, I did a Liverpudlian accent, and I pride myself on being able to do most accents. And I said, but I could learn it. They cast me then, and I then found it almost impossible to learn to do Liam Gallagher's voice. I mean, I spent hours and hours on YouTube videos, and it was excruciatingly difficult. But in the end, I got my friend of a friend to basically do me a sample voice. I think I've got it now. But the Mancunian accent and the Liverpudlian accent are very close.
And see, I would never know as an American.
To slide into it is very simple. So, normal audition process, they said yes, and here we are. So it's been lovely.
I'm the terrible person to judge this, but to me, you're doing an absolutely spot-on job. But what do I know? I'm an American. What do I know about the Mancunian accent?
But
I've heard no complaints.
You would know yourself. I'm sure you can tell the difference between an accent that's maybe 100 miles apart in the US.
I could. Now, if you went like full Scouse, I could be like, okay, I could tell she's doing the Liverpudlian accent.
Yeah. It fascinates me, though, as a singer about where things are placed and how accents are placed. So when you think about the South African and the Australian accents, and they're quite a closed mouth, and I always wonder, is that because it was really hot, or there's loads of sand flying around?
Oh, yeah, well, temperature will make a difference.
I do a lot of solo work, so I spend a lot of the time on my own artistically. Obviously, when I'm making a show, there are other people there. But for me, being part of a company, it's like a holiday. It's so nice to be in a show where I'm with other people, where I'm supported by a cast, where I don't have to worry about selling the tickets or doing the promotion. And they're definitely my kind of people, because they're very big-hearted people. I look forward to them going into world domination, because they will end up being huge, but I think they'll hang on to their small company focus, which is good.
I think they will. I hope they will. And we're very lucky with the current company that we have. I think we gel very well as a couple. We're very supportive of each other, I would say, as well.
The other thing I love is when you have a company who watch each other from the wings and continue to give feedback, and the fact that we come back and talk about the audience. I think if you're still picking apart the show and what works and trying to improve it, that's a really positive sign.
And it's handy in this, I think, as well, because we don't have what a lot of folks would refer to as like a show captain, or you don't have at least a sort of stage manager in this position who would be sort of looking after that aspect of it. So we really do focus in as a team, really, don't we? and we give each other positive support and positive feedback and that sort of thing, and we really communicate with each other.
But that's interesting, you see, because in America we've talked about this, that the role of the stage manager, they would be giving notes to actors, whereas of course in the UK we just don't have that. But we might have a resident director or someone coming in and just kind of checking in on the show once a week, which is weird because you sort of want someone there, but you also dread them coming in case they come and spoil all your fun. But so far when the actual director Ben has come, he seems to like what we're doing, which is great. Because these things have to evolve and you pick up jokes. I think shows are like bits of elastic, and you can overstretch them, so you can milk moments and find fun, and at a certain point it will get to maximum capacity of funny and then ping back and smack you in the face, and you go back to the script and you start again, especially with comedy.
And I see that a lot in your character, especially the police officer, actually.
He's been growing. He's been building.
So. How's that been attacking that character as opposed to obviously the genie who's modeled after like a Liam Gallagher type character, an homage?
Yeah.
How's it been attacking a completely different role?
There isn't much to go with PC World, so I realised I've been creating my own little one-act drama for myself. So there's a scene where basically all I have to do is bang a gong and announce people. That's pretty much it. But there's another running joke in the piece where there's the rival Mr. Wu who runs the laundry, and every time his name is mentioned, we get this bang of a gong.
Yeah.
So in my head now, I've got this whole thing going on. No one would know this at all watching the scene unless they get idle eyes and notice that I'm standing at the back. That every time the gong goes, I'm sort of like, where did that gong sound go? And it's now competitive between. It doesn't make any sense to anyone else, but you have to find games to play and internal challenges and things that are different while staying anchored to the story beats. And given that we put this together in 7 days and we played a lot of games, it's very testament to Ben's direction that he gave us the space to work out what the beats of the scene were, but then has given us freedom to play as well. So, but I like doing multi-character stuff. It's fun for me. Normally I'm doing 5 or 6 characters and swapping wigs, so having 2 is not too challenging.
But I think even for pantomime, for any theatrical work, putting in that detail is important. It's like, not to get too philosophical here, it's what I've seen people like Sondheim talk about many times. We put loads and loads of detail into our work that we think is appropriate, that we think is beneficial, and the audience might not pick up on every aspect of it, but it creates a little story, it creates a mood, it creates a fully dimensional, fleshed out character, even if it's just a bumbling police officer in an Aladdin pantomime, and it gives them a 3-dimensional quality that just makes them a lot more interesting to look at, doesn't it?
Well, I think especially with a panto, obviously Aladdin has his hero quest. In some way, it's not the job of the other characters to go on a particular journey, but I think they all do go on a journey. And, good drama is people we care about going through change. And so for me, even Genie has a journey of, Genie has been being a genie for 13.7 billion years, and presumably they've had loads of masters. And I like to think that Aladdin is the first person who actually said, what do you want?
Yes.
And so there is a lovely arc, but you could just play the character the same all the way through. But I think audiences are really bright. And I think children especially are bright, and they will suss you out if anything you're doing is not authentic. And
or at least they won't follow the story as much as you want them to.
I think that's the thing. There are some characters, they want the Dame to be harsh and funny and slapstick, but there is a little moment, Ben has written into the script, little moments of tenderness that are there.
Some real
do you think that Abanazar has a journey in the piece?
No, who's doing the interview here? No, I'm kidding.
Because I do, but I'm curious to know what
there's a journey that Abanazar goes through, because he starts from the beginning of the show with the prophecy telling him that this is exactly what you're going to end up with by the end of the show, so he expects it to come to him, almost like a petulant child. He knows these things, he feels entitled to it, he knows they're going to happen, he's just waiting for it to happen, and he's savoring the moments of evil in between that he's picking on people. And then he goes through a very quick journey where he has to make some very quick decisions once Aladdin makes that decision of, I'm going to keep the lamp, actually.
Yeah.
And he has to start improvising, and fine, I'm just going to kill you, I'm just going to try to take the crown a different way. And so, he does kind of go on a different journey in that sense as well.
I like watching you work the audience, especially in the school shows, and that you will plant these ideas of don't say anything. You're sort of deliberately goading the audience into a certain response. And I also really enjoy watching you when you are in the Camilla, on how much detail you add when the focus isn't on you. So that because we do scan the stage and people will suddenly start looking for something else. And there's always something interesting going on. You're always so fully inhabiting. And I think it's very tempting with the villain to play them one-dimensional. And I like how multifaceted Abanaz it is.
Well,
and
that's a testament to teamwork as well, because you helped me get into that camel costume.
Do you hear how David is not taking the compliment? Not allowing himself to take full credit for his wonderful acting.
You're very, very kind. But no, it genuinely is a testament to the teamwork that we have on this show, because we've mastered that quick change, you and I.
Yeah.
And you helped make sure that the camel looks perfect. But this really has been a team effort, this show, because we're only a cast of 7.
Yeah.
We've got one of our producers in the show, which is very helpful. So it really has that community aspect, and it comes full circle back to what you were talking about before, which is the fact that we're finishing this small tour, as it were, in Saddleworth at the Millgate Arts Centre, which, like you said, are run by these 2 fabulous gentlemen, Michael and Tim. And it's made for a very family-friendly and community atmosphere, I think, has it. It's been sort of like a macrocosm, microcosm effect with the fact that we have this little community of ourselves in the show, and then for the sort of Saddleworth audiences at large, I would say.
And when panto's great, it should work for children and grown-ups.
Yes.
And there are some pantos out there that I feel are either a little bit too smutty, or they don't really have enough of the humour. And by adult, I don't mean necessarily sexualized, but adult as in sophisticated and wordplay and fun. And I love a panto that absolutely works on all of those levels, which I think this does. The script is fantastic. It doesn't need any ad-libbing because the script is so good. And I've been in other shows where sometimes you feel like you have to kind of pad things out because there's not quite enough on the page. But I mean, Ben is he's doing a PhD in pantomime.
I dare say he knows his stuff.
He does know his stuff.
And it also has that tenderness that you mentioned earlier as well. And I think that's important. That's what distinguishes a lot of scripts, especially pantomime scripts, in this American's opinion. Now, how are you finding, we're finishing up the last of the school shows in Saddleworth. How have you been finding it swapping from children's shows to the paid public performances, as it were?
It's interesting. Today I registered that because one of our audiences were terribly young.
Yes.
I softened Jeannie because the way that Jeannie is written in the adult audiences, first of all, they know who Liam Gallagher is, so they get the joke. And secondly, I think when Jeannie first appears, there is a feeling of like, here we go again, another person. And so I'm mindful that I'm making more eye contact with the little ones, reassuring them that I'm not some kind of crazy, scary person in blue hair. Yeah. So I think I probably sacrifice a tiny bit of my own selfish enjoyment of acting with the kids shows to make sure they're okay and they're not scared. So I do enjoy the adult shows because I think there are more nuanced layers. But there's something you and I have both come off and just enjoyed the giggle of tiny children. It is such a fantastic sound. And this might be their first experience of theatre, and we all remember our first experiences. So I always think panto is a real privilege, and it's also a lovely meeting point of all of the art forms of theatre, of musical theatre, of vaudeville, of slapstick, of puppetry, of mime. It's like the perfect melting pot, I think, of all of those different genres. And so, and you've got to love it. I think one of the reasons we have a good company is also because you have to love this kind of schedule, getting up early, working very hard, being part of a team. And if you don't, it's no job for slackers.
It's like the famous American dancer Tommy Tune once said. He's like, contrary to popular belief, this industry is not for sissies.
Yeah.
It is for the very strong-willed, and you have to really be dedicated to your craft, which is exactly what you're saying. It's starting to get very boisterous here because we are having, like Sarah Louise said, our lovely cast and crew Christmas party tonight. So we got to get a move on here. But I wanted to touch on, before we go, again, to come full circle here, talk about some of the exciting pieces that you're working on. Your one-person, two-person shows coming up. What do you have in the pipeline coming down the road here?
So we made a show called An Evening Without Kate Bush, which is a lovely, anarchic, chaotic, love-filled musical festival celebration of Kate Bush's music. And I made that with one of my regular co-creators, Russell Lucas, and we very much made it on a shoestring in our living rooms, and we've had just the most amazing response to it. But we made it before lockdown, and then obviously lockdown happened, and it's been on tour now for the last year, so we're taking that back out on the road.
Good.
But I also made a new show for Edinburgh this year called The Silent Treatment, which is based on my own experience of voice loss, which again is something you think about panto, how much we have to look after ourselves, and there's quite a lot of shame attached to singers losing their voices. For some reason we get treated very differently from, if an athlete sprains their ankle, we kind of see it as an occupational hazard. But when singers lose their voices, there's a lot of shame around it. People don't want to admit they're struggling. So that's a show that I'm looking for a home for, but I've got a few tour dates peppered around, and I'm directing a solo show about Gertrude Lawrence with a fantastic contralto called Lucy Stevens, which I'm very excited about. Yes. Okay. Yeah, and then I'm going out to Brussels in April to work on a brand new musical, which I'm very excited about. It's so strange. I mean, I've been performing professionally for over 20 years, and I never planned to make my own work. It just kind of happened. But I'm a big believer in that you plant seeds sometimes, and they don't sprout and flourish for decades. And I got this job because I did a show about 8 years ago, and they came to see it, and they just kept me in mind. And it's a brand new musical. It's roughly based on Faust meets Big Brother. And it's being done in Brussels and then around Europe, and it's original music, and it's going to be performed in both French and English. So I get to learn the script in French and in English. J'ai jamais fait quelque chose comme ça. C'est un grand challenge. Alors, j'ai envie de trouver les occasions pour pratiquer mon français. Je parle pas couramment, j'ai fait tant de fautes de grammaire.
Thank you so much for chatting with us today. What you're talking about is very exciting. You're always a pleasure to talk to. You're so well versed and so intelligent. I could talk with you for ages and ages.
Thank you.
I can't remember if we mentioned our lovely stage manager, Ellen. We talked about our stage manager, but not by name earlier. Did you want to sort of shout out to anybody else who's been helpful along the way?
Oh my gosh, well both Rebecca, who's doing our sound and lights, and Ellen are brilliant, and I'm always impressed by both. They are behind the scenes and they don't get the applause, but we know we couldn't do the show without them. One of the things I love about this show is that there is a running thread in it, that the invisible hands working backstage, and it's genuinely, when we turn around and we give applause to up in the lighting box and in the wings, I feel like they're the two most important round of applause that we get, because it's very easy. We get applause every time we come on stage and we get approval, but we mustn't forget that, it's like I always say when I do a lot of solo work, there's no such thing as a solo show, because there's always me and whoever is making sound and lights happen.
It takes a village no matter how big or small the show.
Absolutely.
It does not matter.
Yeah.
And what people forget, I think what a lot of actors forget, is when we go out and bow at the end, we are not there to receive the applause. We're always happy to receive the applause. We are bowing because bowing is a symbol of appreciation. Thank you for coming to our house. That's why we still call the theater the house, by the way.
Yeah, I love that.
Is because we have invited you to our home. You've been gracious, and we're going to be gracious to you and return the kindness back to you.
Yeah.
It's not supposed to be to receive anything, and that's why I love that theater companies still applaud the technicians, the crew, the stage managers, everybody. And like you said, in this particular show, because of the way it's written, because they sneak onto stage in so many different ways, the audience really does know who the heck we're applauding for. And it's a lovely way to end the show every night, isn't it? It really is. Thank you for your time, Sarah Louise
No, it's
Young.
my pleasure. We've got a roast dinner cooked by Widow Twanky coming up.
I could smell it. Can you smell it, folks?
Who's also actually doing the laundry. Widow Twanky actually washes our tights.
And by the way, we are talking about the one and only Dominic McChesney, the other guest presenter who was helping out with this episode, and we will be hearing more from him in just a little bit, friends. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Cheers.
So there we go. That's we're nearly at the end of the episode, aren't we?
We are, and we're nearly at the end of the run in the grand scheme of things. So Dominic McChesney and I are sitting here with our friend Tessa Vale, and we're wearing dressing gowns, and we have pipes and sherries, and we're enjoying our lovely actors' housing.
And we're enjoying the rest of the cheese left over from our Christmas party.
Indeed we are.
And we're sitting down in the lovely digs, which is in the middle of Saddleworth, in the middle of nowhere.
Beautiful frozen Saddleworth.
Frozen Saddleworth.
It's very beautiful.
And it's very warm.
It's lovely in here.
Yeah.
We have the glowing Christmas tree in the corner. And how have we enjoyed the run?
It's been wonderful.
It's been great.
It really has. We have fabulous audiences.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's be truthful, and that we've just finished today was our last school show.
Yes,
it was.
So we have the rest of the run is the full show
for the full next 2 weeks that we're here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which we look forward to very much.
Yes, and it's gone over very well. The Northern audience has been very, very generous and very kind, and overall a very good, successful production, I would say.
Much nicer than the Southern audience.
Oh my goodness, yes, definitely.
Take that, the South. Take that.
As someone from the South.
Yes, in here.
And as someone who's non-partial.
Yes.
Unbiased in this fight. No, but thanks for all your time on this, and thanks for being great cast members, and thank you, listeners, for going on this little journey with us. We hope you enjoyed it.
Can I just say that, and this, without sounding condescending or rude, but I think that, your ability at pantomime is fantastic, for someone who is not natural to it.
You're very kind. I can't do it without
it fantastically well, hasn't
It's brilliant. It's a wonderful villain.
Yes.
Thank you, and I couldn't do it without a phenomenal team. I do kind of rely on the British to sort of take me by the hand and explain the traditions to me.
I think you have you're doing yourself a little bit out of your ability there, because you picked it up immediately.
We're very generous. Americans will be taking over the art form before you.
That'll never happen, to quote the play.
No.
So let's end this little Christmas by saying Happy Christmas.
Happy Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Oh, Merry Christmas. And a Happy New Year. And we don't know whether this is going out before Christmas or before the New Year or after the New Year or whenever, but whatever, yes.
But thank you, musical talkers, as always. Thank you, Mr. Nick Hudson, and thank you to the rest of the team. We missed you. Can't wait to congregate with you again sometime.
Indeed.
Take care, folks. Ta-da.
Bye.
This episode of Musical Talk presented and edited by David Herzog and Dominic McChesney. Copyright Musical Talk 2022, except for the Aladdin dialogue, which is a property of the Big Tiny. Follow us on all social media at Musical Talk. You can follow Dom at Dom McChesney, and yours truly at D Herzog Actor. See you at the theater, folks. Happy holidays.